G'day everyone, it's Joe here from thekissprinciple.net. This is the next installment in what I did along my health and wellness journey. And I want to show you something in here which we know all too well, and it is this stuff. This is called sugar. And sugar is almost in everything. It's found everywhere. And one of the things that I did, one of the key things on being able to get my health and wellness back was that I quit sugar. Not long ago, I had the privilege of watching a movie called That Sugar Film. It's a great Australian documentary that I highly recommend. If you haven't seen that one, go and watch it, where it was really a big eye-opener for me just to find out how much of an addictive effect sugar can be in our lives. Now, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I used to be the type of person that used to take 3, sometimes even 4 teaspoons of sugar in his tea or coffee. And in addition to that, you know, whether you've got the sweet foods like your big sugary donuts, your rich chocolate cakes and your biscuits, and they're the sugars that we know what's in it, but then you've got hidden sugar in things like soft drinks or sodas. You've got them in breakfast cereals, some fruit juices even. And you know, I come to that realization that was just causing me to have things like mood swings, extreme highs, lows. So you know, when you have your sugar hit, you're up here, and then you know, you're crashing down here. And look, I struggled even just to get through the day at work. Why? Because I didn't even realize that I had a huge addiction to sugar. Now, you know, some of the experts out there, and I'm not an expert by any means, but the so-called experts will all tell you that in some cases sugar can even be more addictive than some medicines and drugs out there. So what were some of the things that I did? Well, that was the first thing to go. And I can tell you that it took me a few days just to get over that. I found I probably had headaches for about at least 3-4 days on and off. I was feeling extremely tired and lethargic, had an awful taste in my mouth as well. But after about a week, almost 2 weeks, I started noticing that I started to have slowly more energy than I ever did. And my change for different kinds of foods. I noticed that fresh fruit like bananas, apples, strawberries, I could really taste now how sweet it was. And I noticed that if someone had offered me a rich chocolate biscuit to eat or a chocolate cake or whatever, that I would take a bite of it, and then if I had too much, I found that I'd just feel real sick afterwards. Why? Because I got that sugar addiction out of my system. I started to rebalance my taste buds. I started to rebalance where my body needed to be when it comes to sugar. Now, you might ask the question, Joe, do you avoid sugar completely? The answer is not really, because you see, you got the natural sugars that you can find in you know, fruit, even some vegetables, milk. Then you've got honey, there's natural sweeteners called stevia, that kind of thing. So when it comes to what do I eat in terms of sugar, I tend to be very careful about it these days. If I go to a party or something like that, the first thing I'll do is I'll go for the fresh fruit there first. And then, you know, if I see a biscuit or something, I may have one occasionally, and I'll have that with either a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. And in the teas and coffees, there's no sugar in there. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, how can I possibly ever give up sugar? Hey, I'm here to tell you that I used to be the biscuit king around here. I mean, give me a box of Oreo biscuits or Oreo cookies, and I could demolish that in about half an hour. Or at least here in Australia, this is a classic Australian icon, is the chocolate Tim Tam biscuits. I mean, give me one of those and I'd be happy as Larry for about half an hour until the whole packet was finished. But again, these days, I don't really miss it. If I have a biscuit, you know, every now and again, it'd be very rare, but I'll have one. My chocolate, you know, if I have a craving for chocolate, what I'll do is I'll have dark chocolate. Do you know that dark chocolate is actually good for you? As long as you make sure that it's got at least 80% cocoa in it. And none of this milk chocolate, because that's all got added sugar in it. So this is one of my first little steps that I did in my wellness journey, and that is I decided to get rid of sugar. And look, may I encourage you, if you haven't seen that movie, that sugar film, download it, rent it, whatever you need to do. It is out there on the internet to watch in different ways. It is a really good eye-opener when it comes to just how much the human body can be knocked around by sugar. So that's it for this week in the health and wellness. As always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, Instagram, Facebook, you know the deal. My name's Joe. Have yourself a great week.